All right, section 3, assistive technology for specific needs. So we have on the screen 3 images. One is a person pushing a wheelchair. The other is a person walking down the sidewalk using a white cane. And the other one is an image of a little girl using a tin can and string to communicate a message. So this is going to be our longest section because we're going to go through a bunch of different functional needs and talk about some devices that are out there that are really great devices, or just talk about some challenges with regards to assistive devices and specific functional needs. The needs that we are going to go over are motor skills, moving and controlling, body function, hearing, seeing, process skills, thinking, learning, organizing, feeling, and communicating. So first we have moving and controlling. So the image on the screen is a REACH device. REACH stands for Remote Electronic Access and Control Hands-Free. So the first bullet point that we have here is smart home devices and environmental control units. So REACH has been around for a while now, and it predates smart home technology. So like the Amazon system or the Google systems, right? How we have the Echo devices and the Google Homes. This predates that. And so this was an assistive device that people could kind of control their home before smart home technology became so widely available. So it's important to note that this device is incredibly expensive. And we are currently in a moment in time now where smart home technology and being able to control hands-free the aspects of our home or our workspace, or wherever you have your smart home device, right? It's significantly more financially accessible and readily available for everyone to use. So again, smart home technology is an incredible tool for everyone to use. You can use your Google system or Amazon system to control the thermostat, to turn on and off lights, turn on and off fans, turn on and off your television, change the channel. Really, the sky is the limit when it comes to smart home technology. Then you have built-in accessibility features on generic devices. So in many ways, right, being able to move or control a device, whether that be an iPad, iPhone, tablet, Android phone, there are built-in accessibility features that allow people to use the device in multiple different ways and modalities. One of them being using face control. There are certain apps on the iPad Pro that allows you to use your face as the mouse rather than a touch screen, for example. There are also many external devices, right, that you can Bluetooth connect to your either computer, laptop, things of that nature. And it's all just like built in to your computer or your phone or your tablet. There's also speech to text. So you can use your voice to then text, right? And so I know there's a program that I have on here. It says Dragon Naturally Speaking. That is a program that has been around for a long time. But speaking about built-in assistive technology and built-in accessibility, many times you can actually like write texts using your voice on your phone. If you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you can do that. You can send voice messages. Also in Google Docs, you can use your voice to dictate in Google Docs if you're writing an essay as well. So there are many different ways to use speech to text to help move around and control your device, your tablet, your computer. And there are headsets for phones to use your phone hands-free. There are many different ways to use your phone hands-free. I know I have currently my AirPod Pros in my ears. These AirPod Pros allow me to use my phone hands-free. A call will come in, I will say, answer it. Or I'll get a text, it'll read me the text, and I'll say respond, and I'll dictate my response. So this is a generic device, right, that I have used to be able to adapt my phone hands-free so that I don't have to, text or type or grab my phone. Hearing. So there are many different devices on this screen. So we have the first device on the screen is a sonic alert alarm, clock, and a bed shaker. And the second device that we have on the screen is a captioned phone. It is a caption call phone is the title. And both of these devices are really great because they are specifically designed for someone that has hearing loss, right? If you can't hear the alarm, right, a bed shaker will shake the bed and that'll wake you up. And then the other one is if you are talking to someone and you don't have that ability to have a phone call or FaceTime and to use ASL, or you don't have someone to interpret for you, right? A caption phone allows you to read the message that comes through. So the bullet points that I have here for hearing is listening devices. So that could be a personal listening device or a listening device that's installed into a room or a setting. This could be like a personal FM system, right, where you have a headset and then a little microphone attached to the end, and then you could ask the person to speak into that. If you have hearing, that could be a really great device for you. Also, there are captioning and CART are really great services, right, to caption a video. Like this video is captioned if you need those captions, or you would like to see those captions. You can click the setting button and then have the caption show up. Additionally, there is captioning services. So if you have a live event, you can have a captioner come and attend. And that is called CART, right? It's called Computer Access Real-Time Translation. So that service is provided for people that that are not able to hear the message that's being communicated, or they are deaf, and they would prefer to read rather than have ASL. So those are ways in which we can use CART. There is also phones with captioning. So like we have here, the caption call phone, right? That is a captioned phone. Also, you can control loudness, right? So if someone does have hearing, they're hard of hearing, and they want both the audio and the visual, right? This is a really great example of a device that they could use. They could have the phone turned up, the volume turned up to as high as it goes, and have that secondary kind of caption, right? So they have both inputs. There's also video conferencing and relay services, right? So video conferencing, like Zoom is a great example, FaceTime. Additionally, relay services, that is a service where someone can call in and have an interpreter then relay the message to a person on the other end. That happens a lot. So a lot of people have relay services that they use all the time. Another kind of like low tech or light tech version of assistive technology is having a rear view mirror in your workspace. So having a mirror just like propped up right above your head so that you can see when people come behind you. So I do this as well because I usually have my headphones in and I won't be able to hear when people come. But if I have a little rear view mirror, I can see when people come into my cubicle. And now we are at the seeing slide. So I have an image of, to the right of the screen, of a person typing on a keyboard. So the bullet points that we have here says screen readers such as JAWS, right? So screen readers such as JAWS, that is one form of assistive technology. There are many different types of screen readers depending on like the tech that you're using. I know Chrome has Google Box. I know that Microsoft has a version as well. There are many different versions. JAWS just happens to be an incredibly common screen reader. In addition, right, you have ZoomText Fusion, which is a combination of JAWS screen reader as well as ZoomText screen magnification. So if someone has vision and they like to use their vision, but also needs that secondary input of the screen reader behind them just to make sure that they're getting the message, right? That's a really incredible tool for a lot of people. Additionally, there is a service called Aira. Aira is a phone service. It's almost like Verizon. You like pay a monthly fee, you have them attached to your device. And basically it's a service for people who would like to, who have the need to have someone kind of help them with their phone. And so you call them and they access your camera and they see exactly what you're seeing through your phone. And they can assist you with getting an Uber. They can assist you with reading your mail. Like if you have some sensitive financial, information and you don't really know who to call, you don't have someone there to assist you with that sensitive information. Since this is a paid subscription, they have a ton. They're very protected. So it's a really reliable resource for someone that needs someone to kind of just like identify or see something for them at that moment. Really great resource. Also, there is a lot of text-to-voice technology, specifically on your phone. Most phones are very easily adapted to be screen reader friendly. So you can turn on, in just your accessibility features, VoiceOver, and your whole phone becomes totally touch and voiceover friendly. And so everything from text to the icons on the screen, to opening browsers, things of that nature, it becomes completely screen reader. And there are other kind of apps that assist people, one of which is Microsoft's Seeing AI. Seeing AI is a free app. It uses artificial intelligence, which is why they say AI, to identify objects, right? And so you can have, it opens up your camera and then the artificial intelligence just kind of like tells you what's in the vicinity, and there are categories. So for example, I personally use Seeing AI because I'm colorblind. And so if I would like to identify color, if I'm shopping by myself, which doesn't often happen, but if I'm shopping by myself and I want to know like, what color is this shirt or what color are these pants, and I'm not very sure, I will open up Seeing AI and I'll put it to the color setting and have Seeing AI tell me what color it is so that I don't have to ask anyone and have that encounter. Like I can do it all on my phone. So this is another incredible resource. And now we have thinking, learning, and organizing. So on the screen, we have the Live Scribe pen, as well as the Revibe Focus Watch. So both of these devices are really great. Specifically, the Live Scribe pen, you write, it records the audio that's happening around you. So this is great for someone that's taking a class and wants to be able to like take their notes, but then also have that secondary input of that recorded kind of information. And the page that you have, because you have to buy it, the notebook that comes with the pen. Then you can like play it back and play it forward. It's very, very intuitive. It's not a super easy device to learn, so definitely suggest having someone kind of teach you, or going through like a demonstration of how to use that. But once you figure out how to use it, it's incredible. Again, the Revibe watch, it's a focus watch, and so it kind of gives you a vibration to just like set you back on track. And you can there's an app, and it's very intuitive, and you can organize it in however you would like. If you want like an every 10-minute reminder, every 20-minute reminder to just like refocus or take a break, however that might work for you. So the bullet points that I have here is the Revibe Focus Watch, right? So that is to help with getting you back to focus or getting you back on track so that you can have that like every so many minute reminder that this time has passed. There are task steps, right? That's a checklist. There are apps. There are many different apps that you can have to help with tasks or like organization or like almost to-do lists. There are time management tools. There are alarms and reminders. A lot of times I set multiple alarms throughout the day just to remind me that I need to stay on track or I need to get A, B, and C thing done. And so I'll just set a reminder or set an alarm on my phone. And then I'll remember that, okay, I had 1 hour to do this. I have another hour to do this, and I have another hour to do this. Set those alarms and I'm good to go. There are the smart pens, like I said here. So the Live Scribe pen that I already described, as well as the C Pen reader. The C Pen reader is really great, especially for someone that might struggle reading. I am dyslexic, and so I have used this device before. So you swipe the device over the written text, and then it reads out the text to you. Really useful. It's very easy to use. It's super intuitive. Incredible tool for students, university students, high school students, students that have to read a ton. I suggest this pen. And there are like digital voice recorders. And so if you're not a fan of writing your notes, but you would like to continue to keep those notes and like remember what you're thinking, right? You could just record your voice. There are free versions, like free things on your phone. If you have an iPhone, there's Voice Memo. That is something that I use on a regular basis. There are other voice recording apps as well you could use on any phone that are incredibly useful.
Feeling. On this slide, we have 3 images. We have an image 1 of a child holding a phone with headphones on, and it looks as though he's meditating. The second image on the screen is noise-canceling headphones, and the third image on the screen is a fidget spinner. So the bullets say noise-canceling headphones or noise-reducing headphones. These are incredibly useful, especially for anyone that is overstimulated by loud noises or crowded spaces and things like that. Noise canceling and noise reducing headphones lessen or dampen the kind of input that we are receiving from that environment. Incredibly useful and inexpensive tool to help people with those sensory overload situations. Additionally, there are apps for relaxation. An app that I am familiar with is Calm. These apps help with meditation. These apps help kind of clear your mind or set you back to a calm state if you have been overwhelmed. Also, music is an incredibly useful tool. Many meditative videos have background music, like very calming background music. There are also mood journals and mood trackers. Some of these mood journals and trackers can be in app form. Also, there are a lot of people that just like to pen and paper journal as well, or record their voice and journal through their voice. And finally, we have fidgets. So on the screen, we have the fidget spinner, but there are many different types of fidgets. Fidgets can be super inexpensive. You can get fidgets at the dollar store. You can get fidgets at very generic kind of like Walmart, Target places in the toy section. Fidgets just help people who would like to have something in their hands to then tactily kind of fidget and play with something in their hands. Again, this is another calming technique.
So now we have communicating. So we have translators and interpreters is the first point on this screen. So it is important to know that you can access translation and interpreting via remote using your phone, using FaceTime. So it's important to understand too, that we can use technology as a medium to access a service, and then that becomes assistive, right? So if you are in a setting and you do not speak the language, right, you can use your phone, and there are many different apps that allow you to take your language and translate that immediately to another language, like Google Translate. Or if you are deaf or hard of hearing and you use ASL and you need an interpreter, there are many ways to remote into an interpreting service. I know that's very common in hospital settings to have interpreters via remote or through like a tablet to provide access to that an interpreter for someone that uses ASL, American Sign Language. And then we have alternative and augmentative communication devices, right? So we have one on the screen, a communication speech generating device. So this is a tablet, right? So many times we can use generic technologies and then download an app, and then that generic iPad or tablet becomes a speech generating device or an augmentative communication device. So this is an example of that. Augmentative communication, like we mentioned previously in the AT Continuum video, is a communication board. You can press the buttons, and then that button creates the words or the sentence that you are going to then press play, and then it communicates that sentence for you. That is a high-tech version, right? The low-tech version or the light-tech version of that is a communication board, or a mid-tech version of that is a switch with a pre-recorded message, or even the GoTalk 20, like I mentioned. So these are all alternative communication devices that help people communicate when they are not able to use their voice. Again, messaging and texting, incredible. There are many speech generating devices that actually connect to like social medias like Twitter and Facebook, as well as text or call. There are many communication devices. If you don't use your voice and you don't want to you don't use your voice and you use a speech generating device, you can use that speech generating device to call someone or text someone or post on social media, which is an incredible resource. Again, we have adaptive phones. So currently, right on the screen, we have an iPhone. So iPhones also, you can download communication apps, or you could do the same thing where you can send texts. You can use the phone to FaceTime into an interpreter or translator. Many ways to adapt your phone to meet your speech needs. Or if you're in a pinch, you can also just use the speak function. So you can type out a message and then press speak. That's another way to use your phone to help with communication. And our last slide of this section is daily living. And so we have a bunch of different devices on the screen. First, we have a sock aid. Next to that, we have a button aid. Below that, we have a reacher. And we have a universal cuff to the left. So in this slide, right, we have all of these different kind of daily living devices. These devices just help with daily functions. As you can see, the sock aid, it's a device that helps put on your sock. Button aid, it is a device that helps you button your shirt. So they are very like single-use devices, but they're incredibly helpful to, do things independently, right? So other types of devices that are out there are pill organizers, helps you remember when to take your pills, how many pills you took, things of that nature. Like I said, the sock aid that helps you put on your sock, the button aid that helps you put up your button, the reachers. Reachers are really helpful, especially if you need to just grab something off of the top shelf, or you don't want to bend down onto the floor. You want to pick something up from the floor and you want to preserve your back. You can use a reacher to grab that as well. Incredibly versatile tools. Again, there are adapted clothing lines. So there are 3 adaptive clothing lines that we like to talk about, but there are like many more clothing lines than just these 3. The adaptive clothing is becoming incredibly popular, which is wonderful. But some lines that are out there is Tommy Adaptive. So Tommy Adaptive is Tommy Hilfiger, but they have an adaptive clothing line. They've been around for a significantly long time. They were one of the first to really come out with adaptive clothing line. Target as well has many different adaptive clothing. I'm recording this before, really close to Halloween. So Target also has adaptive Halloween costumes if anyone's interested. And Nike just recently released a adaptive shoe that like bounces you could just like push your foot in and the back of the shoe bounces up. A lot of times like that's the first part of the shoe that goes, because a lot of people that have to slide their foot in or push their foot in, that's the part of the shoe that gets worn the most frequently. And Nike made a shoe that there's a built-in technology that allows that back part of the shoe to bounce back, which is really incredible that they really targeted that one specific functional need that a lot of people have. And there are also other types of adaptive products. I know recently Degree made an adaptive deodorant, which is really amazing. Some people, aren't able to like grab or hold a typical deodorant tube or bottle or spray. And so this was kind of universally designed so that everyone can use this deodorant, which is incredible. So these are just some things that we like to talk about when talking about the topic of daily living.